Somewhere in the building where you work, maybe down the hall, maybe in the next cubicle, maybe doing the exact same job with the exact same title. Someone is being paid more than you. You don't know how much more. You were never told. And if you have ever tried to find out, or even thought about asking, there is a good chance you stopped yourself. Because somewhere along the way, you learned that talking about salary at work is inappropriate, private, against the rules. It is not against the rules. In fact, the rule that told you not to ask is almost certainly illegal. Under the National Labor Relations Act, a federal law that has been in effect since 1935, virtually every non-management private sector employee in America has the legal right to discuss their wages with coworkers. Policies that prohibit those discussions are unlawful. Employers cannot discipline you, threaten you, or fire you for talking about what you make. The National Labor Relations Board, the federal agency that enforces this law, has ruled on this repeatedly and consistently for nearly 90 years. And yet the Institute for Women's Policy Research found that approximately half of all private sector workers report that salary discussion is either actively discouraged or outright prohibited at their workplace. Half of American workers are operating under a policy their employer has no legal right to enforce. A policy designed not to protect anyone's privacy, but to protect one specific piece of information. The information about whether you are being paid fairly relative to the person sitting next to you. Think about why that information is the one thing your employer doesn't want moving freely through the building. Here is what pay secrecy actually costs you, not in the abstract, but in your career. Your salary is not just this year's number. It is the anchor for every raise, every promotion, every counteroffer, and every new job you will ever negotiate. When you accept a salary, whatever that number is, it becomes the floor that every future negotiation builds from. A 5% raise on $60,000 is $3,000. A 5% raise on $70,000 is $3,500. The gap compounds every year. Over a 40-year career, the difference between starting at $60,000 and starting at $70,000, doing the same job with the same qualifications, is not $100,000. At a standard 3% annual raise, that single $10,000 starting gap compounds to approximately $750,000 in lifetime earnings. Not because of different work, not because of different performance, because of a number that was set on day one and never questioned, because nobody was allowed to compare. The American Association of University Women calculated that women working full-time lose an average of $542,000 over a 40-year career to the pay gap. That number does not come from working in different jobs or having different qualifications. It comes, in substantial part, from a salary that was set lower at the start and never corrected, because the information needed to identify the gap was kept quiet. You didn't make less because you were worth less. You made less because you didn't know what the person next to you made. And here is the mechanism that keeps the gap locked in place. Most American employers, until recently, asked job candidates one specific question during the hiring process. What did you make at your last job? That number, your previous salary, became the starting point for your offer. Not the market rate for the role, not what your new colleagues were earning. Your old number, the number that may have already been below market, the number that reflected whatever gap existed at the previous job. Salary history follows workers from job to job like a shadow, compressing compensation at every transition, keeping the gap alive across an entire career. 17 states have now banned employers from asking about salary history. In those states, the gap narrows. Where employers can still ask, it persists. Now here is exactly what you do. The Bureau of Labor Statistics publishes the Occupational Employment and Wage Statistics Survey, updated annually, listing the median salary for virtually every job category in America, broken down by state, metropolitan area, and industry. It is free. It is federal government data. Glassdoor, LinkedIn Salary, and Levels.fyi compile self-reported salary data from millions of workers in specific job titles at specific companies. You can look up what people at your company, in your role, in your city, are actually being paid. Pull those numbers first. Know exactly what the market pays for your role before you say a word to anyone. Then take that data to work and break the silence. Find a coworker you trust, someone in a similar role, and say this: I was looking at market data and I'm making X. Do you mind if I ask where you fall on that scale? That is it. No confrontation, no accusation. Just two people sharing information they are both legally entitled to share. Information their employer has spent years making them feel they were not allowed to have. When that number comes back, and it is higher than yours, you have something more valuable than a feeling. You have data. And data is what walks into a salary negotiation and does not leave without an answer. The policy that told you not to ask was illegal. The silence it created was expensive. And the information it was designed to keep from you has been publicly available the entire time, in databases maintained by the federal government and populated by workers who understood exactly why that information needs to travel. Your employer knows what the person next to you makes. It is time you did too.